Are you ready? Hey, think you can tell us what to do?
Welcome, ladies and gents, to the most must-see podcast in wrestling history. It is PWC! And we've got another review show all about Money in the Bank. This might be one of the best pay-per-views WWE has produced in a long time. And I think it could be because of the live audience. I think they played a big role in this one. And then I must also say, this probably was one of the best Money in the Bank pay-per-views we've had for maybe about 5 years. So that's a good plus and a good bonus for everyone. We're going to get into the reviews, but in case you haven't seen it, on Saturday we posted the Major Players Talk where myself, Jeremy, and Nash all got together. And we spoke a little bit about Money in the Bank. If you haven't seen it, I do recommend going and watching it. It's a lot of fun. And at the end of that show, we had some predictions. We're going to see how badly or how well we did in this review with our predictions. I've got them all here on my desk, and we're going to go through them. And then we're going to tally these up. And at the end of the year, we're going to see who is the Paul Heyman of PWC. And when I say Paul Heyman, I mean it's not a prediction, but a spoiler. Let's see who's got that touch. But without further ado, if you haven't done so already, click subscribe and the notification button so you can get notified on all awesome PWC content that is coming up. We're punting it as hard as possible. Of course, life and COVID and all that stuff gets in the way sometimes. But we do try and push as much as we possibly can. And you've got to get other people on the show soon. Not just myself, Jeremy, and Nash. We've got a couple of oaks lined up shortly. But with that being put that to the side, we're going straight into Money in the Bank review. Let's kick it off. And we kicked it off with, of course, the women's Money in the Bank match. And we had a very select, but it was a weird selection of people coming in. I personally was a bit apprehensive towards it. I didn't think it was going to be as good as it actually turned out to be. So just to recap, we had Liv Morgan, we had Naomi, Asuka, Tamina, Natalya, Zelina Vega, and Nikki Ash. Almost a superhero. And yeah, like I said, it's not the be-all, end-all of superstars. I think there was a lot of star power that they could have added, which they didn't. But what was a very slow build to the match, the ending was quite different to what we've seen in Money in the Bank. Normally there's a huge spot on a ladder, someone falls down, someone quickly takes the opportunity, climbs up and grabs it. In last year's case, the man drops it and a big fat guy picks it up and becomes possibly one of the worst Money in the Bank holders of all time. Again, thanks Jeremy for that one. You'll never let us forget. You'll never let us forget who Otis really is. But anyway, that's just digress. That's the general procedure when it comes to a Money in the Bank match. And the men's one followed that. We'll get to that in a bit. But the women's one took a slightly different approach. I was hoping to see a little bit of friction between Tamina and Natalya. Instead, the two worked quite well in tandem. We had Alexa Bliss doing all what Alexa Bliss does. I don't agree how they took her out of the match. It was a bit of an awkward situation there. I don't feel like it was completely 100% necessary, but it happened. Zelina Vega did pretty much nothing in the match. She had one or two decent spots, but nothing to talk home about. A very big disappointment for me, though. Probably the worst disappointment out of that whole entire match was Liv Morgan. She got a little bit of time to shine, but it felt like she wasted that opportunity and kind of got overshadowed by Natalya. Let's not take the hat away from Natalya. What a tremendous worker and possibly the workhorse of that match. She did a lot of the heavy lifting, a lot of the spots, and a big up to Naomi as well. I'll take my hat off to Naomi. She pulled out. She does every time when it comes to Royal Rumbles or Money in the Bank matches. She's the spot queen when it comes to the female wrestlers, and that was her performance in that was fantastic. But of course, the winner, what happened? We had 6 of the 8 participants on top of ladders. There were 3 ladders set up, each one on each side. They were fighting over the briefcase. Quite a traditional move in a Money in the Bank, but normally something happens and they all fall over and then someone comes up. But this wasn't the case. Instead, what we got, while Alexa Bliss was covered in ladders, which is why I said she was taken out of the match, and it was, again, a very stupid thing. But anyway, while she was covered, Nikki Ash sneaked into the ring, climbed up next to Naomi, and next to Liv Morgan, and snuck up and took the briefcase while all the other 6 ladies were bickering on top of the ladder. And again, I loved that concept. It was something new that we haven't seen before when it came to a Money in the Bank match, to someone have quickly climb up and grab it. And yeah, congratulations to Nikki Ash. She is Miss Money in the Bank. And you know what? I'm enjoying the push of Nikki Ash. Yes, the name change is probably stupid, and the costume that she's been made to wear is dumb. But I'm loving that she's finally getting an opportunity to showcase how good Nikki Cross actually is. I mean, her stuff on NXT was fantastic. Her little rivalry that she had with Alexa Bliss was great. Her tag team work with Alexa Bliss was great. She's so underutilized in the women's roster, and I'm glad she was given this opportunity and became Miss Money in the Bank. As for predictions, not one of us got this one correct. All 3 of us said Alexa Bliss for the win. In fact, Jeremy even said Alexa Bliss with Voodoo to win. But I'm gonna give Jeremy a point here. All right? Because although Alexa Bliss didn't win it, she did hypnotize Zelina Vega and almost won it. So he'll get that point. Well done to Jeremy for that one. The closest prediction we had in the women's bank. I said Alexa Bliss or Becky Lynch. Because at the time of filming, we didn't know who the 7th participant. We didn't know it was Tamina. I thought it was going to be Becky. It wasn't. And Nash straight up said Alexa Bliss. Not even. Yeah, we were all rooting Alexa Bliss. And yeah, Nikki Ash. Well done to her. We then pressed on to the first of the tag team, or first of the championship defenses. This was the Raw tag team match. We had AJ and Omos, the tag team champions, going against the Viking Raiders. And for a match that we did not feel it. None of us were really getting into this tag team feud. A lot of us were just writing it off as a straight victory for AJ and Omos, which it was in essence. I mean, it was a straight up squash match in the end, if you think of it in the bigger picture, although Viking did get a bit of offense on AJ, but it was basically, this match was to showcase how dominant Omos is. And I think a bigger point is it emphasized how good of a team AJ and Omos have become. They had some really good tandem offense together. We saw that move where AJ runs and then Omos throws him out of the ring, which was really cool, into like a back body drop, which was fun. We saw a little bit of other tag team. We see where AJ stands on his shoulders and puts off a splash. So we're getting a little bit more chemistry between Omos and AJ Styles. And the big point is we're getting a lot more in-ring action from Omos, which is, I think, the point that they were trying to put over. As for the Viking Raiders, solid opponents again for AJ and Omos. And they did bring out what they needed to bring out. I think all in all, this match was basically to solidify AJ and Omos as a tag team and not just a random pairing that we got one day on Raw. It actually makes sense that the two have come together and have been, wrestling well together, which is something of importance, I think. As for the predictions, all 3 of us got it correct. We all said AJ and Omos to retain. And there was really no doubt that they were going to retain it. Yeah, they might have had a little bit of a feud, but it wasn't like, oh, wow, this is going to be a life-changing experience. I think they're waiting for a SummerSlam to do that, and we'll hopefully get to see it on Raw and build up to what's going to happen with the tag team division. It seems like WWE is putting a little bit more thought when it comes to the tag team division, which is nice to see. You never want to see a division fluster like that a little bit. So it's nice to see them giving an opportunity, making new teams, and that's what this AJ and Omos is all about. So yeah, all in all, a good match, solid match. Well done to AJ and Omos for retaining. Moved on to another championship match. It was the Raw Men's Championship, the WWE Championship match. Kofi Kingston taking on Bobby Lashley. And whoa, okay. let me just say this. All three of us expected Bobby Lashley to win. 100%. However, and this is a big asterisk, however, none of us couldn't even imagine what happened in this match. I mean, like, listen, you know what? I'm going to give full credit to Kofi, because Kofi sold the hell out of these moves. Now, it was a dominant performance. It was, in all essence, what a beast should be doing in a wrestling. It was a full-on, a squash of note when it came into the rest. I can't even, thinking of it now, I can't remember Kofi even getting a little bit of offense in this match. It was a very weird, it was perfect in what it had to do to prove to the world that Bobby Lashley is not soft anymore, and the champagne and the girls and all that sort of stuff took that away from Bobby Lashley, and I get that, but again, Kofi Kingston, man. Kofi Kingston, what a performance to sell it and to put Bobby Lashley over. I'm sorry with my hand movements. It's just, I got excited watching this match, and it's the first time that I got excited over a squash match. I normally dislike the whole, monster taking over the jobber type of thing, but this just made its point, and this was perfect for exactly what it was. Yes, I'm getting into it, and yes, I did not think Kofi was going to even go. I didn't think Kofi Mania 2 was going to happen, as they put it, and they kept trying to drill it into us that this was the opportunity. I didn't see it happen. Bobby Lashley came back to what the almighty Bobby Lashley was, and perfect match. And then from a perfect WWE title match to a near perfect women's match. It was Charlotte Flair taking on Rhea Ripley in a feud which I won't deny. I felt like it has lost a lot of its spark. I was over it before it even started. And listen, this has been running since WrestleMania. They've been pushing it as hard as they possibly can. We've had rematch after rematch after rematch, and I had lost interest completely with Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. But this match restored all faith that I had in this rivalry. It gave us a reason to support it, and it was great to actually watch it again. I know we've seen this match 1,000 times, but it felt different. It felt like we were watching it for the first time, and that ending with the injuring of the knee, which was smart, and yes, that figure 4 leg lock looked brutal, and excuse the pun with Rhea Ripley, but it looked like she was in a lot of pain, and I think kudos to Rhea for selling it. The match itself was just a pure class between two of probably the best women's wrestlers, and two wrestlers who are so similar in styles and everything, but so different as well. I mean, if you look at the comparisons, Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair have had similar trajectories when it comes to wrestling styles, in-ring wrestling, technical aspect. They've had very similar styles coming up, but they're also just so different. I mean, the one is a perfectionist, the queen, that whole sort of saga. Then you have the brutal, the straight up hardcore version of Charlotte. That's basically what you can think. But of course, when it comes to predictions, all three of us got this correct. We all predicted Charlotte was taking the title from Rhea Ripley, and I think we all understood where this was going, in the fact that Charlotte Flair needed the title more than what Rhea Ripley needs the title. I know that sounds weird to saying Charlotte needs a title, but this version of Charlotte, this seething, underappreciated heel of Charlotte, is, I think, what makes the difference. I feel like the live crowd has not worked or the lack of live crowd has not worked in favor with Rhea Ripley. And I think we might get a couple more Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair matches with live audiences to try and see if Rhea could actually be a proper face when it comes to... I think that's the big thing. I think it's the most confusing thing is that we don't know if Rhea should be a face or not when it comes to cheering for her. But yeah, well done to Charlotte Flair on becoming an 11-time WWE champion. They obviously don't count NXT titles as part of her runs, but it's okay. Just to clarify, it's 1 Divas title, the last Divas champion, and then 5 SmackDown, and now 5 Raw, making her 11-time WWE champion. Forget about the NXT. Moving on ahead, we got possibly match of the night. Men's Money in the Bank match, and I'm going to admit it from here right now. I did not expect this match to be as good as it is. And yes, I am disappointed, and I'm pretty sure Nash and Jeremy are disappointed as well. We did not get Sami Zayn in this match at all, and it grates me. But with the lack of Sami Zayn, we still got one hell of a match when it came to Money in the Bank. And I'm going to come on record and say it, and you guys can fight me in the comments if you want. This was the best Money in the Bank match we've ever had. Yep, I've said it. Shoot me, attack me, do what you want to me. That is a Vaz fact right there. It's a fact of life, as Mr. LA Knight would say. It was the best Money in the Bank match, in my opinion, guaranteed. I loved from the moment the bell rang till the victory at the end. I think it was just a perfect Money in the Bank match. And MVP of this Money in the Bank has to be Mr. Ricochet. I thought he was going to win it in well, I didn't think he was. We all wanted Sami Zayn to win. I said if it wasn't going to be Sami Zayn, I would have loved to see Ricochet actually pick up the Money in the Bank briefcase. It didn't happen, but he got the greatest pops. I mean, walking on the ropes and jumping to the ladder, that was fantastic. Jumping basically over the ladder was great, doing a sunset flip. But also, I've got to give a mention to my man, Kevin Owens. And his getting power bombed through a ladder was fantastic. And then a very underrated spot, which I think a lot of guys didn't pick up. So during the match, we had a Seth Rollins. Oh, wait, let me give you a quick recap of who was in the match, just in case. We had Seth Rollins, we had Johnny Drip Drip, we had Big E, we had King Nakamura, Riddle, Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, and then, of course, Ricochet as well. And coming back to that spot, I think it's a spot that a lot of people missed, but I thought was such a smart, clever move that it didn't get enough attention that it should have. There was a part when Seth Rollins and Johnny Drip Drip were working in tandem together. They had formed a bit of an alliance and they were dominating. They were knocking everybody else with ladders all over the place. And at one point, Big E slid a ladder into the ring, into the corner post area. And while Kevin Owens was trying to get in, Seth Rollins knocked him over and Johnny Drip Drip ran. And I thought he was going to do a suicide dive onto Kevin Owens. Instead, he slid and hit the ladder, which ricocheted, excuse the pun, into Big E and knocking him on the temple. There was actually a point where the referees were very concerned about Big E because I don't think he was supposed to get hit in the head. I think he was supposed to get hit on like a shoulder or something, but it was a bit of an accident. And I think that spot was just fantastic. Just the physics behind using that ladder to sort of alleviate like a knocking. It was just fantastic. You can tell by my voice how excited I was about this match. I thought it was just a great wrestling match. The end, I mean, okay, the only downfall of this match was how Drew McIntyre was taken out, but it makes sense in the grand scheme of things. What's his name? The henchman of Jinder Mahal came in and basically destroyed Drew McIntyre. They came in and they brutalized. I mean, he's already gone through a couple of spots already himself. Brutalized him. I mean, there was a double Claymore kick straight before that. And Veer and Skivvy, what's his name? Skivvy? Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, the two of them just destroyed him and then took him out to the ramp. And Jinder Mahal with the chair destroyed him and they pulled him to the back, taking him effectively out of the match. Which, funny enough, the crowd popped to that. They cheered for that scene because they knew we knew we didn't want to see Drew McIntyre win the Money in the Bank because we didn't want to see Drew and Bobby Lashley have another opportunity. So it was fun. Like the crowd got behind all the spots. I mean, at one stage they were cheering Seth Rollins, who was the perfect little squirmy heel, when he turned on Johnny Drip Drip. That was fantastic as well. We even had the dripstick come into play, as I think it was Ricochet trying to attack the belt, and he hit him with the Johnny Drip as he jumped across onto the ladder. Let's not forget that. And in the end, possibly one of the coolest endings I've seen, Seth Rollins was about to grab the briefcase, and Big E came in with the biggest big ending, as Michael Cole put it. And big ending from the top of the ladder, taking out Seth Rollins. Everybody else was basically destroyed. Kevin Owens was through a ladder. Ricochet had... Oh, I forgot to mention that one spot. Oh! Before I get to this. Oh! Ricochet on top of the ladder jumps onto the ladder, off the rope, did a full flip and took everybody out. If you have not seen it, please go and watch that. That was brilliant. The perfect little flip from Ricochet. Oh my goodness, sorry, I'm just imagining that again. We'll edit that out, sorry. We probably won't. Anyway, big ending from the ladder onto Seth Rollins. Big E climbed up and grabbed that briefcase, and Mr. Jeremy will get the point for this, because he did say Sami Zayn, if Sami Zayn doesn't come in, Big E. And we got the video packaging of... We're probably going to get the video packaging that he was talking about. We got a couple of backstage photos of Kingston and Xavier hugging Big E. Mr. Money in the Bank, Big E. And a lot of us were wanting it. A lot of us are probably going to get it. Big E, Roman Reigns. Or were we? Because what came next was the main event. That main event, ladies and gents, was the Rated R Superstar Edge. One-on-one for the first time. Let's not forget Michael Cole against the big dog, the tribal chief, the head of the table, Mr. Roman Reigns. And Roman was adamant that the bloodline was going to keep all the gold. After the Usos beat, of course, the Mysterios on the pre-show, all of them were drenched in gold, and Roman was feeling it. And you know what? I don't know if it's Roman that sold this, or Edge who sold this, or just both of them just being such good damn wrestlers. This was one hell of a match. And probably the best way to end Money in the Bank. Although I would have preferred the Money in the Bank match to be at the end, because it was match of the night. But everything we expected of this match, from the time we saw the WrestleMania with Daniel Bryan involved to this one, we expected it to be a hell of a match, and a hell of a match it was. It really was such a fantastic match. And yeah, guys, everything from this match was great. The build-up, the slow build-up. It was a lot of bigger moves and like struggling technical moves, showing both athletes that they have this technical side to them. And from the time the referee got knocked out accidentally, we had the Usos come out and distract him. Edge took care of them. Mysterios then came out and took out the Usos and the Bloodlines. They were taken apart. And then we got probably one of the most logical swerves I've seen in WWE recently. Now, the distraction finish has been... It's been a thing that's plagued professional wrestling for a while now. AEW has been doing it. Impact did it at Slammiversary a couple of times. And WWE has been doing it to death with the schoolboy roll-ups and all that sort of stuff. And we got the distraction. However, there was no referee, so it didn't really play into play. But it did come a bit later. Seth Rollins appeared out of nowhere and attacked Edge. Obviously, still seething from the fact that he lost Money in the Bank and lost his opportunity to fight Roman. So it makes sense in the fact that he is angry at Edge. brutally attacks Edge, puts him in the ring. We think Roman is then going to pick up the victory. Edge fights back. It was fantastic. They carried on brawling for a bit. No referee. At one point, Edge hit the spear and probably had Roman out for about a 10 count, if that counts. We didn't have a referee, unfortunately. Roman then hit a Superman punch. The referee came back into play and got... before the Superman punch, Seth Rollins came in and curb stomped, of course, Edge. And then we had the Superman punch. Referee came in. And then we had the victory as well for Roman Reigns, retaining his title. Seth Rollins came out and stared down Roman Reigns. But before he could do anything, Edge attacked him and the two of them brawled out of the ring. We then had Roman standing in the ring as the champion. And then, which was probably the biggest pop this wrestler has ever had in his career, in my opinion. Bigger than his Royal Rumble return. It was Mr. You can't see me, my time is now, and the franchise is now the return of John Cena. What a return. Didn't say anything, literally came to the ring. The crowd went ballistic. Normally, when John Cena comes in, we get the Cena, let's go Cena, Cena sucks chance. None of that. None of that. Cena was cheered because that's how good of a heel Roman Reigns is. Our tribal chief actually got the entire WWE universe to agree that John Cena is finally the ultimate face. Can you even, guys? Can you even? And that's all the time we have for you on the review, at least. What a show. Before we get to the Vas scale, let's go over our predictions. We pretty much got all the title matches correct. We all said Charlotte was going to win. We all said Roman and Lashley was going to win. And we also said that AJ and Omos was going to win. However, myself and Nashville got both Money in the Bank matches incorrect. Jeremy got the women's match incorrect, but he got a point for Voodoo being used at the match, which was fantastic for him. And he got the men's Money in the Bank. So as it stands, Mr. Jeremy is our Paul Heyman. But of course, it's a long year till the end of December. We still have about 6 pay-per-views to go through when it comes to WWE. We might even do the AEWs and other pay-per-views that we come up with. So why not add all of these up and see who the real Paul Heyman of PWC is. As for the Vas scale on Money in the Bank, it picks up a whopping 8.5. I think the women's Money in the Bank match, the disappointment of some of the spots that I was expecting didn't happen, brought it down just a tad. And I think the tag team match itself was also, it felt like a bit of a punch to the gut, it lost a bit of the wind, but the rest of that, from there onwards, the build-up to all the matches getting better and better and better as they produced was fantastic. And I think that saved Money in the Bank a lot. Once again, congratulations to Nikki Ash and Big E on being Money in the Bank briefcase holders. And what in store, what happens in further on, we'll find out. Stay tuned. Remember, guys, to subscribe and click notify as well. All the content coming to you on PWC. Thank you very much for the support, guys. Once again, from me, your mother's favorite podcaster, Vaz. Till next time, peace and chicken grease.